Oh, still more heart. She's 7.
You just helped somebody because you helped me too. What you got? Well, hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining me. Y'all listen, it's Mommy Mondays, and I've been blessed the past couple Mondays. It's been all right getting here. It's been with ease, and today I did nothing. And of course, the nighttime hours always bring something. You always doing something. I know y'all seen that little TikTok and Instagram reels. It's something. I know it's always something. Okay, so listen, it's all good. It's Mommy Mondays. That's what happens. Sometimes we, encounter things that kind of end up being speed bumps. We get over them, but they just take a little extra gas, okay, to get over the hump. Listen, I am super excited to be here with you tonight because guess what? Tonight, on the Mondays of HBCU month, we are celebrating my alma mater. Yes, Alabama, the Alabama State University. And I am super excited to have a fellow Hornet with me. Y'all know I always rep the EW, but of course, she will be representing with the Bama State gear on. But I'm super excited. And listen, what other night than tonight? My husband and I have the Walker Family Scholarship, and it's for graduate students at the Alabama State University. And you can click right underneath this YouTube video and listen. The links, all the things are there, instructions about how to give. You can make your tax deductible donation to a graduate student so that they can help make their way, navigate their way through their graduate program. And they can do that scholarly, but listen, they need money too, okay? They need the coins. So we want to make sure that we can contribute to a graduate student. After HBCU month, the committee will be reviewing the applications, and we're going to help a graduate student, listen, help that balance on the account. I know all y'all understand what I mean when I say that, because we all know about that balance. Some of y'all still ain't got no paper degree, because you still paying on that balance. We're trying to help them out, okay? So listen, tonight I have an amazing mom, amazing wife, amazing lactation, amazing, there's so many people who right now have been talking about the importance of doulas and being able to care for ourselves in a certain way, especially as Black women when we are dying at higher rates in hospitals than anyone else. So listen, I am excited. Listen, she had to help me make sure I pronounce her right now. Adilliah, the beautiful Adilliah Smith. Hello, beautiful. How are you?
Hello, I am well. How are you?
Listen, I am doing fantastic. Y'all, when she first came on, I was like, Adilliah, where are you at? And I knew exactly where she was, and y'all, it tickled me to my soul. The things mothers have to do. It's the things that mothers have to do. It's the way we have to do them, okay? We get it done. Get her done. That's what we do.
That's it.
Listen, I am so excited for you to be here with me. I always ask these first 3 questions. I know I'm holding up 6 fingers. Please disregard that. All the math teachers out there. I'm talking about 3. These are 3 fingers, okay? The 3 questions that I always ask: who you are, tell people who you are, what you do, and why you do it. And of course, a little bit about your HBCU experience.
I am Adilliah Smith. That's who I am. What I do is live. I live in my life, in my body, my soul, my spirit. I am blessed to be a mother, a wife, a friend, and professionally a doula and a lactation educator. I do what I do because this is part of my calling. I didn't ask for it. I was assigned this.
Yes.
And that is essentially the core of why I do what I do, but I'm blessed to do it and I enjoy it. And of course, a product of the Alabama State University.
Absolutely.
Absolutely the best institution, not just HBCU institution on the planet Earth. Shout out to Bama State, 1867.
Listen, because when we teach class,
the world takes
notes. Listen, I love it. And I know we'll get to the HBCU experience in just a moment, but I do want to talk for a little bit about what you do professionally, because it's a really big deal right now, especially since we've been in COVID and people are having babies and delivering babies on their own, especially at the beginning of the pandemic when they were just unsure about everything. There was so much uncertainty. People were delivering babies on their own, not even allowed doulas, in the rooms, at the very beginning of things. Talk a little bit about what your experience has been as a doula and lactation consultant, I guess is the word I'll use, navigating through this pandemic.
So lactation is lactation, right?
Okay, good.
So cool. Not a whole. There's a piece where that community piece, that support group piece is like virtual ain't the same, but you can still do what needs to be done professionally. The peer level is what was different with COVID when it came to breastfeeding, because people aren't gathering and it's like, I'm losing my village, I'm being withdrawn, and all of that's just a bit much for anybody. On the side of doulas,
Mm,
that's a whole nother thing. So here in Alabama, where I am, everything went to one visitor. Well, at first it was no visitors. Then it went to one visitor. So that immediately froze the doulas out. And once it got to one visitor, some people were making the choice. Some families were like, "I'd rather have my doula than my husband." And while I don't advocate for that or whatever else, people were having to make that hard decision. I've been sitting just like this virtually, attending births. And at a certain point, I'm like, enough is enough. I don't know if you ever had a chance to see it, but I authored a petition to the state of Alabama and the governor to change the restrictions um, for hospital visitors. In the case of doulas, these are people who are already with these families, been with these families, and there's only so much you can do virtually. We have to respect the physical hands-on component. Um, when it comes to the work that it is that we do. Uh, it's already been a scary time. The pandemic has heightened things. As we know, we're standing on the heels of a maternal health crisis, maternal and infant health, all the more so in the state of Alabama, where we continue to sit somewhere like 48, 49, 50 in terms of maternal health every time the reports come out,
wow.
every single time. Every single time. I know you're in Georgia, and Georgia is not far behind.
No.
Georgia is just a bit more proactive on a few things, and a little better resourced. But all that to say, the petition went through. We got thousands of signatures, and the decision was changed to go to two visitors. It was granted by the governor, by KIB, and I was so grateful. I think I was watching it on TV when I was at a doctor's appointment with one of my babies. I was like, did that just happen? Did it just happen? Did it just happen? It just happened. Oh, because I'm like, enough is enough. Enough is enough. At some point, we have to act like we care. And if the stroke of a pen can change somebody's outcome, let's do that. And the petition is still on. What's the thing called? I don't forgot what the thing is. Just put it on. What's the website, Lord?
Change? Is it change?
Change.org.
Okay.
Boom.
Okay.
Boom, boom, boom. So if you look up Alabama, you look up doulas, you will find it.
Listen, would you consider yourself an activist, for the doula community? Because I know that there were probably tons of doulas sitting around trying to figure out a way to navigate that space. And because you were able to kind of step up and begin a petition to better the outcomes for mothers who are dealing with the blessing of being able to give birth, would you consider yourself an activist for the doula community?
I don't know whether I would give myself that title or not. I never thought about that. My thing is just do the work. Show up in your community and do the work, whatever that looks like. That's just me. That's just how I roll with everything.
And I mean, that's what we do as Hornets. One of the things that you see a lot recently here in the community, I don't know about your timeline, but my timeline is full of different things that our fellow alumni are doing within the communities to, not only advance their families, but to, advance their immediate communities as well. And so I know that you have a lot of experience with Alabama State through through attending for some years. Come on, baby boy. The 2-year-old, y'all, he's okay. Um, okay. I know you had an opportunity for a while to experience what it's like, to go through some things while you also had your HBCU experience. Talk a little bit about what it looked like for you to be able to, you know, finish school the way you wanted to finish school.
Um, so I tell people when they ask me when I graduated, and then I know they kind of trying to count back my age in my head. I was like, I took the scenic route. I started at ASU with no shame. I would tell you I got there in 2004 and I finished in 2011. And my program out the gate was like a 5.5-year program out the gate. Now, me, I'm like, okay, some semesters I'm Dean's List, other semesters you on the verge of academic probation, sis. Just, living life, hanging too hard, not caring enough, caring too much about other things. It is what it is. And while I might have felt pressure myself, the whole 4-year thing, I was like, that's not even realistic. My program can't even fit in 4 years. I had a double major in biology, secondary ed, and I minored in math. That minor in math was on accident, but I did. Thankfully, I never felt, the pressure from like family or friends to finish by a certain time or whatever else. Nobody's support ever wavered, be it financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatever the case may be. The support was always there. I did what I did in my own time. I think I changed majors just once from like elementary ed to biology ed. In which that's how it became a double major, because when you do secondary, you got a fully major in whatever your concentration is, plus that education side.
Okay.
And along with all of that came the math. But I just did what I did in my own time, and I was glad to walk the stage when it was my time and all that jazz.
And I think that's so beautiful because I think there's such a stigma, one, around going to college. I love my HBCU. I love the college experience, but there's such a, for a long time, it was, you have to go to college, you have to go to college, you have to go to college. And, I'm grateful for my experience, but everything you want to do in life doesn't require debt, and doesn't require a degree. And so I am very supportive of those who choose that path, and that's okay. But I'm also supportive of those who don't. And I think that it's big that you had a support system that wasn't forcing you, because way too often kids think, oh, I have to go to school and I have to be there 4 years and I have to be done and move on to the next thing, when really it's okay. Like you said, the program itself was initially created for you to spend 5 to 5.5 years to complete your majors. And when you don't finish in 4 years, people be like, oh, you still in school? You still in college? Yeah, you come do this math. You come do this chemistry, this physics. You come do it, and you tell me how long it's gonna take you, okay? And so I think it's beautiful, the support you had. Talk a little bit about your support system, because I know you talked a lot about how your family was just so supportive of the way, the scenic route that, as you call it, the scenic route that you chose to take. Talk a little bit about your support system and what it looked like then and what it looks like now.
It's still the same. It is really still the same. So, my parents 10 toes down, flat footed, even when we cut the food, they still love us. And I'm, showing you grades that ain't quite right. And it's like, well, what you gonna do next semester? That was just it. It's like, well, you can do better. What you gonna do next semester? You still plan on staying, or you graduating, or you coming home? Which, okay. And that's the end of it. It wasn't that they weren't vested. They never pressured us with anything. And so my siblings were the same way naturally, because that's how we were raised. So even as, children growing up in the household, I'm the middle child of 7, the dead middle child of 7, I'm number 4. It's just like my parents always said, you have to have a plan. You got until, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised. So we graduated high school in June. And when you graduate in June, it's like, cool. My parents say you got to have a plan, you know, when graduation hits. We're not thinking about it, wondering about it, but your plan got to be in motion by the end of the calendar year. That was their thing. Whatever your plan is, it has to be in motion. You're not going to sit on your behind and just kick it. Do whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter if you want to go to work, you want to go to school, you want to do this, do it. You have to have a plan. You have to work your plan. It wasn't necessarily a deadline kind of thing. It was a stay on your business, handle your business kind of thing. Don't drag your feet. Whatever happens, happens, but you need to be forward moving. And so even in my semesters where I had, 7 classes and I ain't passing but half, keep it moving. Or I'm just like, well, I passed just enough to take another class, but I still got to retake that class. Keep it moving and keep doing what you need to do, but don't keep sleeping on yourself kind of thing. Don't sleep on yourself. We're still here for you, even when the financial aid ran out. I had my sister was calling her line sister who worked in financial aid at another school, like, hey, she said, this is what you can do. This is how this works. Tap in here, plug in there. This is what my support system looks like. This looks like my older brother's driving across country to, pick me up, finishing out, the spring semester and all of that other stuff. And just that was my support system. It never wavered and everybody showed up at my graduation. And it was, it was like I would have finished in 4 years or something like that. Everybody showed up and it was still a celebration. And, this is me coming after my sister who did it in 4 years, went to grad school, all the things. Even now she's sitting up studying, finishing up her PhD, she getting ready to defend. But it was never like a comparison in my immediate unit. The support was just what it is. And even still now. With the pursuit of going from me a K-12 educator, 10 plus years in, and I stopped to start my business and focus solely on maternal and infant health. The support was still the same and it never wavered. I've never had a shaky support system a day in my life, and I'm blessed to be able to say that fully, completely.
And
totally.
that is beautiful, because I know there are so many children. Let's just go to high school, because they're transitioning from high school into college. There are so many students that struggle with the support system. They're working already, taking care of a child, even in some cases, and trying to figure out how to navigate, this thing called life. And they have no support system. Nobody's in their corner, to kind of root for them and tell them, hey, it's okay. You're going to make mistakes. Don't quit, keep going. Everybody has bad days. And I think that it's so important, when we think about mentorship, when we think about what it looks like for us to not just have the support of our families, but to have, that one or those 2 or even 3 people who are there to mentor us kind of along the way. Who would you say would be like one of your best mentors you've had throughout your life, throughout the process in general, whether it was college? Well, let's separate them. Mentor that you had maybe while you were in college, if it's not a parent or something, mentor you had while you were in college. And then maybe now, as you are where you are, what type of mentor you have now?
I would definitely say my older sister. She's family, but because she's seen so much of me through and through in the collegiate process, even with changing majors, she ain't never let up on me. She don't let up on me now. I would definitely say my big sister. I have to say my big sister of all people, even though she was at a distance and we 1,000 miles apart, literally. She was the one who kept me grounded and kept me moving. Now, once I got out of college and I started to work professionally, one of my bosses became a mentor to me, to the point to where I can pull up on her now. She didn't retire. I pull up on her now. I know that I can draw from her well of wisdom. She's been pouring into me since day one. And she would always say, stick with me. I'm going to make sure you're taken care of. Stick with me. I'm going to make sure you're taken care of. And it wasn't like a grandmama, ooh, baby, just love you, love you, love you kind of thing. She loved me, but she knew when to be hard on me and when to correct me. And she knew that I could take correction. I will take correction from her today. She's old enough to be my mother, but I still love her like a friend. And I respect her for who she is in my life, um, and who she's been and continues to be, professionally, personally, spiritually, all the things. But I do not want to discredit, God rest her soul, my mother in law. She was a woman of impeccable, incredible character and support. And before she was ever my mother in law, she was a mentor to me. She was one of those people, and you probably knew her because you went to Faith, Dale Smith, Elder Dale, right? She was a friend to me before I was ever a daughter in law to her. She was a mother to me before I was ever even dealing with her son. And a lot of people say, she picked her daughter-in-law. She picked her daughter-in-law. That's fine. That's what you want to call it. She stayed on my heels. Even when it came to starting my own business, she would say, well, if other people can do it, why can't you? She helping me comb through RFPs and everything else. And it's like, well, I don't know this part, but this means this and that's that and this and that. And I'm just like, I'm sitting here using the technology that she gave me and everything else, even in her passing, and just her wisdom and Adilliah, this is how you have to handle your business and everything else. I can't say enough good things about her, not because she isn't here anymore, but because that's just who she was to me. Apart from her son, apart from her grandkids, that's who she was to me. She was a mentor. She was, in her own right, even though she was like a spiritual mother, a friend, even still, an elder, of course. She was a mentor to me for certain.
And that's so beautiful, especially when you say people say she picked her daughter-in-law. I think that when people, see something in you, they see what you're capable of, and they show you that same love, they show you that same support. It's something about having them be with you.
Yes.
And the lessons you learn from them, it's like they just never leave you.
Mm-mm.
Is they're
Mm-mm.
always with you, even as you navigate different areas of life. It makes you think, oh, they would have said, or they would have done, or they showed me how to kind of navigate your way through your life's journey. And I'm sure she's there with every booby that's popped out and every baby that's coming forth. She's
Look,
like, you go, Adilliah.
she was rooting for me then. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but she was willing to learn, although she did not breastfeed her own children, and she would tell you that. She was like, I was extremely sickly, all these different things, but she was, the old dog, as they would say, who was willing to learn new tricks, whatever I had to teach her to care for my oldest girl, because she spent a lot of time with her, completely attached to her. She didn't mind learning, pace feeding and all of that. And okay, she's not crying because she's hungry. She didn't mind, relearning what she needed to learn to care for a breastfed child. And I
Right.
appreciated that so very much.
Ooh, because people don't understand how breastfed babies eat.
Okay.
I didn't, I didn't think about that when because, okay, so for me, with my first child, I tried breastfeeding. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I didn't know. So it didn't work. And we ended up using formula. And I remember just crying and crying, crying because people made me feel so bad about feeding my baby girl formula. Because there was so much pressure to just breastfeed. And I'm like, I have tried. I don't know what I'm doing. I had a lactician who just didn't know how to help me with my body. And so it just didn't work. And I had to feed her formula. Honey, then fed her something she was allergic to. I mean, it was just all bad. And so when my second child came around, I said, okay, this stuff didn't work. Let's try this. I removed cabbage from my diet because the biggest issue I had was I loved cabbage. And, people put cabbage leaves on their breasts, or used to, and that's what my mom did, put cabbage leaves on their breasts to stop themselves from lactating. And my doctor said, Ebony, you have so much veggies in your system that it's messing with your ability to create milk. So before my son was born, I removed cabbage from my diet. and I massaged, did all the massaging and stuff. And I was able to, and he latched on at the hospital, like and everything. And then also with my third, same thing. And so I was just so, so proud of myself, right? But I didn't realize how much they ate. I didn't sleep for 3 years. That's how it felt. Because I had well, my son and my daughter are 16 months apart. So that's like having two twins. And then by the time Jackson came around, because he'll be 3 in March, and he still barely sleeps through the night. So technically, my daughter is 7. I haven't slept in 7 years. So people don't realize how much breastfed babies eat. And they're like, well, if you fed them with a formula bottle, they would be full. But that's not true. Y'all be adding cereal to this baby stuff, adding it to, making it's just all wrong. Like, just I won't get into it because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm, being mean towards them about the way they chose. But whatever worked for you, worked for you. Whatever worked for me and mine is what worked for me and mine. What's the number one mistake you see a lot of moms make when it comes to lactating?
It's in their mind. Because if I see my cousin got a baby and her baby drinking the bottle of formula, but I'm only making a bottle and it's this big, you look at you immediately compare. It's like, but why don't I have that much milk? Because you don't need that much milk. So it generally starts in your mind, with prenatal education, so that you understand, okay, a full-term infant stomach size is the size of like a grape or a cherry. That's it. So I don't need all of this. You're not a cow. It's the whole size thing. And is it enough? Because nobody wants to feel like they're a bad mom and I'm starving my baby and my baby is hungry. And it's like they got a small stomach. They got tiny, 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 tiny stomachs. And your body, unless you have some extreme situations going on, will make exactly what the baby needs. I see it every single day.
Yeah. The mind is so important. Yes. It's what we think and how we think. It plays like such a significant role in everything we do. It's crazy. Everything we do, not with just moms lactating, with what we're doing in school, how we navigate going to college, and all of these different experiences. They're all so, so good. And so one other thing I want to talk about is homecoming season. And so I know a lot of people have experienced homecomings. My first guest of the month was Jackson State. Last week was Spelman. And of course, we're talking about Alabama State this week. And Adilliah got to go to homecoming this year. So talk a little bit about your experience. I didn't get to go because I'm working on this doctoral work, okay? But talk a little bit about your experience. I saw all the pictures. I saw all the videos, Bama State Society and Off the Record Day Party. I mean, it was just so much going on. Talk about the experience you had with homecoming.
Homecoming was an entire situation. First of all, I'm not 20 anymore. I ain't 22. I ain't 23. And my body is telling me that. It was good to, of course, see everybody, because homecoming is a big family reunion. It's a family reunion like no other. And if you've never had a chance to experience a family reunion, it's a family reunion like your distant cousins, all your cousins, and your cousins' cousins when it's an HBCU family reunion.
And I don't think people realize that homecoming isn't normal for Alabama State. Like, we have had Turkey Day for years upon years upon years, and that was homecoming. But to have a true separate homecoming space of homecoming,
that was the thing. So it was the family reunion on that level where I'm not having to choose between a major holiday and my homecoming, where it's like, I'm glad to be here, but I'm sad I'm missing that. I wasn't sad to be missing anything because I wasn't missing out. And everybody was so vibrant and just happy to be there. One, happy to be out, the pandemic did what the pandemic does and all of that. But it's like we got a real, true, separate homecoming. Ebony, it was phenomenal from start to finish. I participated in every event I possibly could. I had a grand old time. Unfortunately, I didn't take all the pictures, but I was too busy having a
You
grand
lived
old
in the
time
moment, and that's okay.
in the moment. The young alumni, and then when I say young alumni, I want to say from like 45 on down, showed up and showed out. The young alumni set a precedent that this is what we want, and we're going to continue to support homecoming being separate from the oldest the oldest HBCU football classic, which is Turkey Day, because we still hold that badge of honor, and anything else. Um, I'm excited to see how it continues to move forward. It was just a whole vibe. It really, 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 really was,
I felt
especially
it. I
considering the
felt it through
things.
the screens. I felt it through the pictures. I was so grateful for several of you guys who like let us live through your stories. I was like, can somebody please just stream the whole thing? Just go live and just stream the whole thing for me so I can watch the replay. But I could tell that it was giving exactly what it was supposed to have gave, as they've been
Yes,
saying lately.
yes.
Because everybody was just super excited. And I think that there's a beautiful balance between, what younger alumni want
Hmm.
and what older alumni desire. Because guess what? We got homecoming and we still have Turkey Day.
Hmm.
Because I know some people are like, well, are we going to have Turkey Day? Yeah, you're still going to have your Turkey Day. You're still
Hmm.
going to be able to do that. But this is the experience to have the true homecoming, that
Yes,
weekend where
yes.
people can engage and be a part. And right now it's just a beautiful time, not only to be a Hornet, but to be a part of an HBCU in general, because I
Mhm.
know they had homecoming this past weekend where Alabama State played Jackson State
Mhm.
University, and it was over 53,000 people, and it's the most people
Yes,
ever. I heard it was just
yes.
so packed. My husband went there, so he graduated from there. He went to Alabama State too. So
Um,
yeah, but my thing is, this is the time right now for HBCUs to unite. Like, it's just so beautiful, the experience. Being in a place where you're fully accepted for who you are.
yes.
We hear about all the issues that people of color face being at PWIs, predominantly white institutions. And there's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with getting an education there, but it's also important to be in a place where you're fully accepted for who you are. You know, locks, melanin,
Everything.
ripped jeans, tank top,
Accents,
whatever it is, you
whatever.
know, whatever. Being fully accepted for who you are and whatever it is that you're doing. And so I lived through you guys for homecoming. um, because it was just so beautiful to just see everyone just in all their joy,
Mhm.
in all the things. And I mean, you was cute, girl. I saw you. I
Well,
saw
thank
you.
you, thank you,
You
thank
was
you, thank
cute,
you,
little hats on and stuff.
thank you, thank you, thank
I
you.
said, "Oh, look at
And
Adilliah."
you know what, Ebony? For the first time in a long time, I didn't have to be a mommy. I didn't have to be a mommy. I didn't have to be a wife. Doesn't mean that my husband and my children weren't taken care of. Yeah, take care of home and then run and go play. And my husband was like, enjoy your friends, enjoy your time. I was absolved of all responsibility for as much as I possibly could be. Because I hadn't been able to just put on clothes that didn't have to worry about being stained. Like I had on white pants. White pants?
As a mom, I don't think I
Okay.
have mine anymore. I think I gave mine away.
Okay. Okay. So I ain't gotta worry about my clothes being stained. I ain't gotta worry about this opening up this way or this way so this one can latch on. I could just wear my clothes, be untouched. I could just be. I can have accessories, not worry about my earrings being pulled out. That's a whole other thing.
I mean,
Okay.
and it is because as moms or people who care for children most, like, you are constantly considering the child, constantly consider the children. And that what you said about not being touched, there's such thing as being all touched out. Like,
That
just
part.
all touched out. Like, I don't want anybody to touch me. I remember, breastfeeding my son and having Jackson, because I breastfed my son off and on until he was about almost 3. Um, and so then Jackson came around. He's our third, and so that only gave me maybe what, like a year and a half of not breastfeeding. And here he came, 8 months. He bit me. We made some corrective actions. He kept biting me. I stopped. I went to formula. I got 3 kids. I'm like, I'm not doing this no more. And can't nobody make me feel guilty about it. Somebody tried, but you're not gonna make me feel guilty about it. I got 3 kids over here, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. My Trinity tribe is what I call them, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And it's just it hit different. It hit different with that 3.
We are in the process of weaning right now. So we dropped like most of the daytime feeds, but we were still feeding in the evening. But I have some other things that I have to be able to focus on within my body. And I've been doing alternative treatment, but I need to get back to my full treatment for a condition that I absolutely cannot help. So I'm taped up right now as we speak.
Shop closed. Shop closed. Well, listen, I know it doesn't seem like it, but we've been here for 35 minutes. Okay. And so before we go, I would love for you to share, I always try to give people opportunity to share like their top 3 things, whether it's as a doula, as a lactician, as a mom, as a wife, as a graduate, as an alumni, however it is you want to share. But 3 things, let's say somebody just coming in and they need to go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And they like, oh, wait, I want to watch a little bit. And they miss everything else. Give them something to take with them. What would you like to share?
On a personal note, always make time for yourself. Your relationships, the rest of your relationships will be enriched because you have time for yourself. So that'll be 1. 2, if you have a birthing body and you are planning to have a baby at any point in time, it ain't got to be me. But please, please, please make the investment in yourself, in your baby. And please consider hiring a doula. Don't hire a doula because you think it's some luxury service. Hire a doula because you're invested in your experience and having great birthing outcomes, no matter what that looks like for you. It doesn't matter if it's home, cesarean, whatever the case may be. Make the investment in yourself. We do all the planning for baby showers and hairdos. We can at least do that for ourselves and our babies. And be still. That'll be my last thing. Be still. Whatever that means for you spiritually, professionally, personally, be still. Try not to be swayed by every single thing. We live in a world where we can easily be consumed by anything just at the stroke of our fingertips from a phone. We can be easily swayed, but I want to admonish everyone and just say, be still, whatever that needs to look like for you.
Yeah, that's so good. I'm a fan of number 3 because, oftentimes people talk about being able to hear God, hear his voice, and be able to utilize the instructions that he's giving. And they're like, well, he's not speaking, he's not saying anything. But most of the time it's because we still talking. We too loud. We making too much noise and we forget to be still. We forget to be silent. We forget to find our place of quietness, to give him the opportunity to speak and say what it is. You pray and you talk to him, you communicate, but then you get up and you move and you out. But when you pray, give yourself a moment, like for him to respond. You talking at him, you might as well leave room for him to say something at you.
There you go.
And so I love number 3 because that stillness is so important. It's the difference between right and wrong. It's the difference between landing and crashing. It's the difference between, falling and failing.
I like that.
It's a big difference. So I like number 3.
I like that. The difference between landing and crashing. You were absolutely correct.
Listen, because landings can be bumpy.
Yes. My old pastor told us something in a sermon. Somebody asked him like, well, I just want to grow closer to God. I want to grow closer to God. Like, what books are you reading? What are you studying? How can I grow closer to God? And he was like, slow down. You can't serve anybody. You can't hear anything. You can't do anything. You can't even righteously devote time to read anything. Just slow down so you can see the needs of people, see where God is pushing you, see where God is pulling you, see where God is telling you to stay still. Slow down. In my life, that one thing has blessed me. Slow down. I changed my workload and everything. Slow down. I can see the needs of my household better when I slow down.
Mm.
I can see my own needs better when I slow down. And I actually got time to check on other folks' needs when I slow down instead of saying, I ain't got time, I ain't got time, I ain't got time. You do have time. Are you stewarding it well, though?
Right. So beautiful. And just let me help somebody, because somebody listening like, well, just because you're not doing anything doesn't make you lazy. Today I did nothing. And I had to be okay with that. I had to be okay with doing nothing. Doing nothing is doing something.
Yes.
Mind your schedule. I'm not available. Take back your no. No, I'm not available for that. I don't have the time. Well, what are you doing? Tending to me. That's something.
That's it.
Because today, a couple of people asked me to do some stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not available. But I thought you said you wasn't doing anything today. I'm not. And that include whatever you asking me to do.
That part.
I'm not doing anything. So I thought you just said, I thought you said you wasn't doing nothing today. I'm not doing nothing.
And this is how you take care of self.
Yes.
Every time I see these heroic, and I know we got to get off of here, these heroic stories, like, oh, this person, like particularly in education, they made such a great sacrifice. I remember reading an article like this teacher's having Zoom classes from her hospital bed, like at the height of the pandemic. I was like, she has no boundaries, and that job don't care about her.
Whew. Well,
What?
I know I spent over 10 years in the military. And I always use the analogy. I can't remember what leader gave me this analogy, but they did. Sometimes soldiers are like pencils. They sharpen them. They go dull. They sharpen them. They go dull. They sharpen them. But when you can no longer write with them, you throw them away. And you pick up a new one. And when I got that wrapped around my mind, I had to help people understand I'm a pen. Somebody gonna miss that, and it's okay. But don't make yourself a pencil. You're not disposable. Sometimes you may run out of ink, but guess what? The framework is still there. You could put more ink in the pen.
Correct.
And if you buy a mechanical pencil, that lead is replaceable. It's really about the outer shell and what you're putting on the inside. That's a whole sermon. We're not going to get into that. Listen, Mommy Mondays has been so good. Thank you, Doula. Doula. Thank you so much. This has been so beautiful. I'm so grateful for your experience. Always makes a huge difference when the foundation of a person, their spirituality kind of exudes through who they are and what it is that they do. Especially, you start by saying, look, I'm working in purpose. Like, this is what I was assigned to do. I'm on assignment. And that's such a beautiful thing. And we always close out with prayer, the same prayer that I say all the time. People keep asking me about it. If you ask me for it, I can DM it to you. I say the same prayer all the time. But we always are so grateful, God, for the clarity it is that you give us. We pray that our minds can think of you, our eyes can see you, our mouths can speak of you, our ears can hear you, our hearts will beat for you. The blood flowing through our veins is for you. Our hands will be lifted to worship you, and we will walk within the footsteps that you have designed. And anytime we lay down to rest, that we will awaken, refreshed, renewed, and restored. I am so grateful that you chose to spend a little time with us here on this Monday. Thank you so much, Doula, for your love, your compassion, and your heart. I'm so grateful you spent a little bit of time with us this Monday. I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you having me. It's been fun and refreshing and refueling.
Well, listen, I hope you're able to finish out the rest of this week just as strong as you were for everyone else tonight. Thank you guys so much for being with us. This has been Mommy Mondays. Bye-bye.
Mommy, I'm sure she can tell you yes. Oh, still in her heart. She's 7.
You just helped somebody because you helped me too. What you got?